welcome to another Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. Today is going to be fantasy, and I'm going to unbox Terra Mystica, the Automa Solo Box. This is the solo play, or allows for Terra Mystica to be played solo. But before I get into that, what is Terra Mystica? Well, Terra Mystica is a fantasy, Euro fantasy game published by Z-Man Games in the United States. And there's a lot going on in this game. This is a very heavy Euro game in that regards, that there's a lot of decisions, there's a lot of different type of mechanics, and a lot of interaction between those mechanics and with the other players in this game. There's kind of a built-in mechanic that you want to build close to your opponents, and each one of you will get benefits from that. But as far as a fantasy theme goes, some people have said that the fantasy theme is somewhat pasted on, which happens in Euro games from time to time. And in fact, Terra Mystica was skinned and rebooted into a space theme, and a lot of people consider the space version of this, which adds some technology and some other features, to be better than Terra Mystica. But I generally like Terra Mystica for what it provides. And in looking at Terra Mystica, you have a board here, and hey, it's a hex board, right? Well, kind of. So it's a war game, not even close. But basically what you're doing in Terra Mystica, you're going to have various races, fantasy races. This is one of them here. This is the Chaos Magicians. And actually this board is, just so you know, this is from Terra Mystica Ice and Fire, or Fire and Ice, I should say. There's, I think, a couple of different expansions for this. I just have the Fire and Ice expansion. I think there might even be one or two others that are out there. But I just have picked up that, and I think you only need to have Terra Mystica, the base game, to play the solo box, but it should work fine with any of the expansions, I would imagine. So you're going to have several different races. There are all kinds of races that you have in the base game, and then with the Fire and Ice expansion. So you get a player board for each one of these different races, and they're dual-sided, so you never can play the Acolytes versus the Dragon Lords, because they're on flip sides of the board. But you have all these different races that you can play in the game, and each of these boards, most of them have a terrain key. There's a terrain key. There are a few that don't have that because they have a different special abilities. But basically what you're doing with this, one of the key features of this game, hence the Terra Mystica, is basically you're terraforming this map to suit your needs. So the Chaos Magicians have a preferred terrain, this is Wasteland, I believe. And so they're going to put some of their initial, buildings on the board in Wasteland. But if they want to build adjacent and expand their empire or expand their civilization, they need to terraform the surrounding terrains. And this key here tells you how much that's going to cost to do that. So to do this, that's pretty far away. Let's do a forest. So to do a forest here, it's going to take 2 shovels. You add up the shovels that are in between the different types of terrain. It'll take 2 shovels and a certain amount of workers. And again, all these boards are a little bit different on how they have what's their terrain that they like. Like this one doesn't have shovels, but this one plays a little bit different, the Ice Maidens. But here you have the engineers, their preferred terrain. I think that's mountains, and then what you would count the shovels that go on. How many shovels that are away, plus it will take a certain amount of workers as well. But then once you terraform that, then you can build on that spot. And then, and so you can start expanding your board. And the neat interaction of that is that the more buildings you take off your board, the more workers you get. These little cube notions here, or symbols, means that you get worker cubes. And worker cubes are these bad boys here, little brown cubes here, or wood-colored cubes, I guess. And you get more workers and able to do stuff, right? And then to do more terraforming and the like. And these buildings have different effects. Like some of these, like trades buildings, you get power and coins. These give you more workers. This is what the cost is. It's going to cost you a worker and 2 coins to upgrade this building, or to build this building. And then this is how you upgrade the buildings. And then you take these off the board and put them on, take them off your player board and put them on the board. These buildings here give you priests. I think these are like temples. These give you priests, and priests are yet kind of another resource. You basically have workers, coins, and priests are kind of another resource there. And a lot of times they come into play on your cult boards. You have these different cults that you're going to be trying to move up in rank on, and you're going to get victory points and power. When you pass certain levels, you're going to get power and you're going to get victory points. And to get to this final area, you need to have a key, and the way you get keys is building a town. The way you build a town is have a group of buildings, like a group of, like, I think 4 buildings. Again, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and it all kind of fits together in a very, very tight economy. But so there's this board that you're going to be looking at and trying to keep track of how you want to do things. Then there's also going to be the main victory points are these scoring rounds at the end of each turn. You play 6 turns, and then, like, after the first turn, for every one of these trade buildings you build, you're going to get 3 victory points. Wherever you see that symbol, that's basically a victory point. Plus, if you have if you're on the 4 track, or the 4th level track of that blue cult track, you'll get a shovel for each one of those. So if you're on track 8, you'll get 2 shovels. So in each round, there's going to be a new victory condition. Like this one here, placing those buildings gives you 5. And then if you're on that level 2 track of that gray track, then you're going to get a worker. If you're on level 4, you get 2 workers, so on. So each one of these are going to give you victory points and other special abilities based on the cult track. Plus, there's ways to move up on the cult track. You're going to be vying for these tokens to get up on the cult track. But again, that's, as I said, there's several different tracks, and there's several different ways of what you're doing here. Plus, each one of these characters have a special ability, which is going to be noted here on their board. They're going to be unique based on how they deal with terrain. They're going to be unique on their special ability. And when they get their big building out here, this will give them a special ability that only they have. So basically, these 2 here are basically only they have as far as special abilities. So when you could put this building out, you get like this one-time bonus of doing something here. So again, a lot going on. You're trying to expand your civilization and eventually connect with others because both of you will get bonuses there. I mean, some races I think play that a little bit better than others. And along the way, you have this power bowl. This is yet another mechanism that's in this game. Wherever you see like the purple symbol there, or purple symbol and stuff, you're going to try to gain power. Like when we looked on the cult board there, you kind of gain power. There's like 2 or 3 different ways you gain power. When you gain power, you're basically moving from one bowl to the other bowl, but you have to get everything. You have to get it into the 3rd bowl to use it, and there's several different ways you can use power once it gets to this 3rd bowl here. You can get coins with it, and then this is unique too for each of the different characters, I think, in some respects. I mean, that might be the same, but there might be different ways you play power. But you can spend power. Whenever you see the black, you're spending power. This black arrow here, so you'd spend power, and then like right here, if I spend 1 power, I get 2 coins there. So So there's different ways to use, you're managing this power dial and to do certain things on the board. And these are like one-time uses on that you can use on the map as well, using power to do some of these things. So as I said, there's a lot going on here. This is not meant to be a rule summary. This is meant just to give you a kind of a feel for what this game is about. And one of the reasons why I wanted to get the solo box, because this is a fun game to play, but it's hard to get to the table. It's hard to get to the table with my family. It's hard to get to, I've played this with my son several times, but it's kind of an investment as far as complexity. And, you know, and us as war gamers, hey, we know what that is, right? You tell us something we don't know. But, you know, for a Euro game, it's relatively heavy, and it's hard to get people lined up for it. And it's a little bit of a difficult teach at the initial setting. Once sat down, and once I've sat down and learned the rules again, I can teach it and then we can play it. But you really don't get a feel of it till you get to like your second or third game, is when you're starting to feel, all right, how's this really working? You know, your first 2 or 3 games of this are really, I have no idea what's going on. It's a very tight economy on how you're doing stuff. And it can be a little frustrating, but after that, if you play them, a few games that are not separated by months or years, then you can get a pretty good feel for this. But so one reason why I want to get the solo box is because then I can play it. I like this game. I like some of the aspects of it. It's a deep game, and so I like deep games and deep experiences. And so I thought the solo game would be good for this game. Another downside of the solo game of this size is this size. There's a lot of setup here, although you only have to set up your board. On the solo, I think it has cards. I don't know if you set up another race or not, but so there is some part of this game is, and why it doesn't get to the table as much, is there is some setup to this game, and that takes a little bit of time. So we get the rules. We'll take a look at that. You're getting some of these tokens here for the solo game. So I'll be interested in how that plays out. I'll put this here right now. You're getting these cards here. We'll let's open these up. I'm kind of doing this a little backwards here. I normally do the rules first, but just want to get into this. So you got some cards here. Looks like there are some different backings here to the cards. These look like they're based on the terrains. And then you're back to those other backings. So be interested in how this plays out, but this is basically, this is all for the solo game, I believe. Here's those terrains. So that might be shifting how you do the terraforming there. These are some setups probably for different scenarios maybe. I'm not sure there. Okay, so you get those cards. Not sure what that does. You get some baggies. There's some baggies in there. And we have these cards here. And I believe this is the real engine of the game, is these cards. So you got some of the different so I wonder if these are the different races you can play against. So this will be the AI races. So it looks like you've got a trade. So maybe there's some different actions you can take. You normally have, there's like a whole list of actions. You can, on your turn, I can't recall now. It's like 6 or 8 actions you can do, different actions you can take on your turn. As again, there's a lot going on in this game and a lot of decisions to make. But so I wonder if you have different actions in the solo game. So these must be like AI, what you play against. And it tells you how to do their ability. And this one looks like they have like 3. Okay, so hazarding a guess here. I haven't watched too much on this game yet because it just came out. The solo box yet, it just came out. This must be really what drives the game, how these come out, or tells what drives what the AI does, I would imagine. So let's look at the rules here. Basically, it is, there's no page number on that. So it's 12 pages of rules. You have some faction-specific rules here on how they play out. You got your components. So you have the Automa difficulty level, faction cards, decision cards. Yeah, so these are the decision cards for them, they basically going to be running stuff. The Automa terrain priority, so there's going to be different terrain priority. Okay, so that's for the AI. The dwelling map. Okay, so those maps aren't set up. That's for the AI. That's interesting. Okay, some achievement cards for that race. The Go Gnomes. Some replacement scoring tiles. Okay. All right, so that's your components. Here's your special rules. Here's the Automa cards, the faction cards, the decision cards. Here's how you do setup, which is probably going to have some different, of these cards. That's what I think some of those tokens probably going in there for that. Dwelling placement. Then you build the AI deck, and then some different terminology definitions based on the AI stuff. Here's the terrain selection, direction selection, and then you get the AI's turn here. Transform and build. Okay. And then in-game scoring. So, okay, it's interesting. I mean, right out of the box, I look at it and I go, okay, this is Terra Mystica, right? It's not, it's a little bit deeper of a Euro game. So I looked at that and it's just one jumping out at me. Oh, this is how you do this. So I'm gonna have to sit down and kind of go over this a little bit deeper. So you have Fire and Ice, you have Merchants of the Sea. That's the other expansion. So that's the other expansion that I don't have on this. But that is what you get in a box of Terra Mystica Automa Solo Box. So it allows you to play Terra Mystica solo. And yeah, I'm interested in doing that because, as I said, it's hard for me to get this to the table with my family. And now I don't have an excuse for that. I can break it out myself. Although I got to find the time and the space to do all that when I'm still trying to keep up with all my war games. So anyway, but I wanted to share that with you. This is fantasy. There's really not conflict in this game. Although you do have a hex board. It's all about expanding, and actually there's some benefit or motivation to cooperate or to build close to other races and expand your territory that way. There's a little bit of motivation for doing that, and for some, especially, I think it's better for some of the races than others. But there you have it. Again, a lot going on. I didn't even scratch the surface, not even close on all the different stuff that you can do and how you get points in this game. And that's what this game is. It's really kind of a point salad, but it's a kind of an somewhat of a obscure point salad. Sometimes you don't know exactly how you want to get to where you need to get in this game. And that's why it takes, at least 2 or 3 plays to start figuring that out. Anyway, so if you guys are interested in this solo box, here's what you get inside there. Love to know your thoughts on that. Love to know your thoughts on this game in general. Is this something that you know, this is, again, primarily a war game channel, so you guys probably don't want to get into this kind of stuff. But this is very, you know, when it comes to Euros, this is a very deep Euro in some respects on everything that's going on there. Anyway, that's what I have for you today on Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. Hope you're having a great day. It's a little cold here and rainy today, and I was planning on going to some events. Don't know if that's going to happen based on the rain. So anyway, I hope you all take care, and thanks for spending some time with me. Thanks for watching.